My wife suddenly became distant, cold, and started sleeping in a separate room. One night, I found a hotel key in her purse. Heart racing, I drove to the hotel and knocked on the door. A man answered, smirking, "She's finally leaving you." But when she saw me, she turned pale. I handed her a folder. Inside were divorce papers I had prepared first. She thought she was ending it on her terms. But so did I. All right, here it goes. I've been sitting on this for a while, and I think it's time I put it out there. Maybe it'll help someone else going through something similar. Maybe it'll just help me get some of the weight off my chest. Either way, here's what happened to me. I'm 42, been married to my wife, her name is Sarah, for nearly 13 years. We live in a quiet neighborhood just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. Nothing fancy, just your regular middle-class setup. I work in IT for a logistics company. Sarah is a nurse at a private clinic downtown. We don't have kids, just 2 cats and a backyard that's too big for the both of us. For most of our marriage, things were solid. Not perfect, but we had a rhythm. We cooked dinner together a few nights a week, spent weekends watching old movies, took trips when we could. You get comfortable after that long with someone. You think you know them. That's the part that really messes with your head, thinking you knew someone and realizing maybe you didn't. About 6 months ago, things started to change. It didn't all happen at once. That's the worst part. If she just screamed at me one day and said she wanted out, maybe I'd have handled it better. But no, it was slow, quiet, and cold. First, she started pulling away physically. Hugs got shorter. Kisses became rare. I tried to ask if something was wrong, but she'd just smile and say she was tired from work or that she was dealing with stress. I bought it. I wanted to believe it. Then came the late nights. Extra shifts, she said. Paperwork that needs catching up. I believe that too. I mean, I've never worked in a clinic. I don't know how demanding it gets. Who was I to question her? But she stopped sleeping in our bedroom about 2 months ago. Said I was snoring too loud, and she wasn't getting enough sleep. So she moved into the guest room. I offered to get a sleep study done. I even downloaded a damn snore tracker app. It recorded barely anything. She brushed it off, said it was probably just stress. I let it go. Again. Then one night, something happened that flipped everything. She was in the shower, and I was grabbing a charger from her bag. I never go through her stuff. I swear. But her purse was half open, and inside, there was a hotel key card. You know the type. The ones you get at mid-range places like a Comfort Inn or Holiday Inn Express. Not a 5-star resort. Just somewhere discreet. My chest got tight. I just stared at it for a minute. I didn't even pull it out. Just looked at it sitting there like it belonged. Like it wasn't blowing my entire world apart. I put everything back and walked out of the room. Didn't say anything. Didn't know what to say. That night, she acted normal. Told me goodnight, and went off to the guest room. I barely slept. The next morning, after she left for work, I took the day off and drove to the hotel listed on the key card. It wasn't far. Just off the highway, near one of those industrial parks. I walked up to the front desk and tried to stay calm. I asked the lady if someone named Sarah, last name, had been staying there. She gave me a look, asked if I was her husband. I said yes. She hesitated, but then she confirmed it. She'd been staying there on and off for the past few weeks. Sometimes for a few hours, sometimes overnight. I nodded, thanked her, and left. I didn't confront Sarah that night. I didn't know how to. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut, and my brain hadn't caught up yet. I needed answers, but I also needed proof. So I hired a private investigator. It cost me a couple grand I didn't really have, but I needed to know everything. Every detail. I didn't want just suspicions. I wanted facts. A week later, he sent me a folder. Photos. Time-stamped entries. Descriptions. Sarah and a man, mid-40s, scruffy beard, average build. They met in the parking lot. They kissed before going inside. They stayed for 2 to 3 hours each time. This wasn't just a fling. It was planned. Repeated. I felt hollow. Numb. I didn't even cry. Just stared at the pictures until my eyes blurred. Here's where things got different. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I didn't even bring it up. I called a divorce lawyer the next day and started the process. I told them I wanted to file quietly, without her knowing yet. I needed to get my ducks in a row first. A few nights later, Sarah said she was going out with some old co-workers for drinks. Same line she'd used a few times before. I told her to have fun, and she left like it was just another night. I waited 15 minutes, then followed her. It wasn't hard. She's predictable. She drove to the same hotel. I parked across the lot and waited. About 40 minutes later, I walked up to the room number the investigator had given me. My hands were sweating. My stomach was tight. I knocked twice. The man answered. He looked surprised at first, then this smug smile crept across his face. Like he'd been waiting for this moment. She's finally leaving you, he said, like he was doing me a favor. Sarah appeared behind him, wearing casual clothes, but her face went white the second she saw me. I didn't say a word. I handed her a folder. Inside, the divorce papers. She opened them with shaking hands. Her eyes darted across the page. Her mouth opened slightly like she was about to say something, but no words came out. You thought you were ending this on your terms, I said quietly. So did I. And I turned around and walked away. All right, here's part 2. Things didn't just stop at the hotel door. After I handed her the divorce papers and walked away, I sat in my car for a long time. I didn't start the engine. I didn't even cry. I just stared straight ahead, hands gripping the steering wheel like I was trying to hold on to something solid in the middle of a storm. My phone buzzed. It was her. I didn't answer. Then it rang again, and again, 5 times in the next hour. I drove home. She didn't come back that night. The next morning, she showed up. She looked like she hadn't slept, still wearing the same clothes. Hair a mess. She walked in quietly, like a kid sneaking into class late. I was at the kitchen table, drinking coffee, staring at the divorce packet she hadn't signed yet. She stood there for a minute, didn't say anything. Then finally, she spoke. You didn't have to do this like that. I laughed, not out of humor, just disbelief. How did you want me to do it? Wait for you to hand me the papers first? Let you finish playing house with some dude at a cheap hotel while I mow the lawn and make dinner? She flinched. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said quietly. I stood up. You didn't mean to cheat? You didn't mean to lie every night? To sneak around behind my back? Tears welled up in her eyes. She reached for the table, like she needed it to stay standing. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't care. I didn't want apologies. Not after this. And that's when the first twist hit. I'm pregnant, she said. Everything inside me stopped. I stared at her, waiting, hoping I misheard her. But no. She said it again, softer this time. I'm pregnant. I sat back down, heart pounding. Is it mine? I asked. The words came out slow, cold. She didn't answer right away. That's what I'm trying to figure out, she finally said. Figure out. My ears were ringing, like a bomb had gone off. So you don't even know? She shook her head. I laughed again. Short. Bitter. Then I stood up, walked to the bedroom, and shut the door. I didn't talk to her for 2 days. We lived in the same house like 2 strangers in an airport, passing each other quietly, eating at different times. The air between us thick enough to choke on. She finally left to stay with her sister. She still hadn't signed the divorce papers. Now I had a bigger problem. There might be a baby. Might be mine. Might not. I didn't even know how I felt about that. I always thought we'd have kids one day, but not like this. Not surrounded by betrayal and shame. I told my lawyer. She said we'd need to do a paternity test once the baby was born. Until then, there's nothing legal we could push for. So I waited. But the guy, he didn't wait. About a week later, he showed up at my job. Yeah, he came to my office. Security called me. Said there was a man downstairs asking for me. Said it was important. I came down, and there he was. That same smug face. Like he owned something. He handed me a brown envelope and said, since you like playing games, I thought you should see this. I opened it. Inside were photos. Of Sarah. Of him. Together. In our house. Not just at the hotel. On our couch. In our bed. There was even one of them in the kitchen, my kitchen, laughing while she wore one of my t-shirts. I didn't even say anything. I just turned around and walked away. He laughed behind me. I could hear it echoing through the lobby. That night, I changed the locks. The next day, I went to the police and filed a trespassing warning against him. I didn't want him near my property. Near my house. Near me. Sarah called that night. She was crying. Said she had no idea he had taken those photos. Said she felt violated. I told her she lost the right to feel violated when she brought him into my home. Another week passed. Then another. And then she called again. He's threatening me, she said. He said if I don't leave you completely, he's going to ruin me at work. He knows things about my clinic. He's been snooping through my phone. I stayed quiet. I'm scared, she added. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something. I wasn't sure what it was. It wasn't love. It wasn't sympathy. But it was something. Now I'm here, sitting in this mess. Divorce papers unsigned. A baby on the way. A cheating wife possibly being blackmailed by her lover. A home that feels haunted. A job that's suddenly exhausting. And a heart that feels like it's been dragged through glass. I don't know what happens next. I'm not sure if I want her back. I don't know if I can forgive this. And I definitely don't trust her. But part of me still wants answers. Not closure. Not anymore. I want the truth. If anyone's been through something like this, what the hell did you do? After that last call from Sarah, when she said he was threatening her, I didn't know what to think. Part of me still didn't trust a single word she said. But something in her voice felt real. Like she was genuinely afraid. I told her to report him to the police. She said she couldn't. Apparently, the guy, his name's Nathan, by the way, knew stuff about her clinic. She admitted to taking painkillers for herself a few months back. Said it was during a rough time when she couldn't sleep, couldn't cope. And she told him. Trusted him. Now he was using it against her. He threatened to expose her if she went to the cops. Said he'd report her for drug theft, send those pictures to the clinic board, even lie, and say she gave him access to patient records. All of it could get her fired, maybe worse. I didn't say much. I couldn't. She cried on the phone. Said she didn't know what to do. Said she never meant for it to go this far. I told her to get a lawyer. That I wasn't getting involved. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. About 2 days later, I came home from work, and the back door was cracked open. At first, I thought maybe I just forgot to lock it. It happens. But then I noticed a photo frame on the floor. One of the ones of me and Sarah at the beach, years ago. Smashed. Glass everywhere. I checked every room. Drawer. Closet. Nothing stolen. But the bedroom smelled off. Like someone had been there. I checked the camera on the doorbell, but the footage cut off around 2 p.m. Right when Sarah's login accessed the feed remotely. That's when I realized she still had access. I called her, furious. She denied coming over. Swore she didn't touch anything. Swore she didn't share the feed login with Nathan. But now I wasn't just dealing with betrayal. I felt like I was being watched. Played with. So I changed all the locks again. Killed the cameras. Went full analog, bolt locks, window alarms, even bought a second-hand security system off a friend. Then, 2 days later, Sarah showed up. At my front door. No call. No warning. She looked rough. Eyes red, clothes wrinkled, like she hadn't slept in days. He broke into my sister's house, she said. Last night, while we were asleep. I blinked. What? He took my phone. Said if I go through with the divorce, he's posting everything. Sending stuff to the clinic. To your job. He's completely losing it. I didn't even know what to say. I let her in. She sat on the couch, the same one she and Nathan were in on those photos, and just stared at the floor. I think he's following me, she whispered. I looked out the window. My quiet street suddenly felt like a trap. She pulled something from her bag, a crumpled paper. It was a printed screenshot of an email. Anonymous sender. No subject. Just a single line. You destroy me, I destroy everything. Attached were the photos. The same ones he gave me. So now she was getting them too. I told her she needed to file a restraining order. She said she tried, but since there wasn't direct violence yet, they wouldn't grant it. That night, I let her stay. I don't know why. Maybe it was old instincts. Maybe guilt. Maybe fear. We didn't talk much. She took the guest room again. Around 3 a.m., I heard a noise outside, like gravel crunching under tires. I peeked through the blinds. A black SUV was parked across the street. Lights off. It sat there for 5 minutes, then drove away. I couldn't prove it was him, but I knew it was. The next morning, Sarah was gone. She left a note. I'm going to fix this. Don't call me. That was 4 days ago. No texts. No calls. Her sister hasn't heard from her. I even drove by the clinic. She's not there. Nathan hasn't shown up either. I don't know where she went. And here's the craziest part. Yesterday, I got a manila envelope in my mailbox. No stamp. No return address. Inside, a USB stick. And a note. You don't know half the story. I haven't plugged it in yet. I don't know if I should. But I will. I have to. I'll update once I do. This thing isn't over. Not by a long shot. All right, here it is, the final part of the story. That USB sat on my desk for 2 days. I stared at it like it was a live grenade. I had no idea what was on it, but I knew it was going to change everything. On the third night, I couldn't take it anymore. I plugged it into an old laptop I barely use. No internet connection, just in case. There were 3 video files. No labels. Just timestamps. I clicked on the first one. It was a recording from inside a hotel room. Hidden camera. Sarah and Nathan. At first, it was just them talking. But what I heard made my stomach drop. They weren't just having an affair. They were planning things. Nathan talked about getting me to snap. If he loses it, you'll get everything in court, he said. Make him the bad guy. Cry in front of a judge, and boom, house, alimony, done. Sarah laughed. I paused the video. I couldn't breathe. My own wife. Talking about how to destroy me legally. How to play me like a fool. I played the second file. It was Nathan. Alone. Talking to the camera like a vlog. Like he was documenting everything. I'm keeping backups in case she turns on me. She thinks I'm just in this for fun. Nah. She owes me. I gave up a lot for this. If she runs, I'll ruin her, him, and everything they've ever touched. He looked dead serious. Angry. Obsessive. The third file? It was Sarah. Crying. In a room I didn't recognize. I messed up. I thought I could control him. I thought I was in charge. But he's dangerous. He's watching me. He knows things about the clinic, stuff I told him in private. If he sends it, I'm finished. And then she said it. I didn't want to hurt my husband. I didn't want it to go this far. Too late. I copied the files. Called my lawyer. Then I called her sister. I need to find Sarah. Now. She was hiding in a motel 2 towns over. I drove there. When I walked in, she looked like she hadn't eaten in days. Thin. Pale. Eyes red. You saw it, she said. I nodded. What were you doing with him? I asked. Not yelling. Not angry. Just empty. She broke down. Told me everything. Said it started when she felt like I didn't see her anymore. Said Nathan made her feel wanted. Alive. Then it got out of hand. He started pushing her, manipulating her, using the stuff she told him in confidence as leverage. He said if I left you and made you look like the bad guy, he'd help me. Said I'd be free. I didn't know how far he'd go. I believed some of it. Not all. But it didn't matter anymore. She asked me to forgive her. I told her the truth. I don't hate you. But I'll never trust you again. I gave her the files. Told her to take them to the police. I wasn't going to do it for her. That same night, I went home. Alone. The next morning, I got a call from the clinic board. They had launched an investigation. Sarah had confessed everything. She quit before they could fire her. Nathan? Arrested. Turns out he had blackmail material on 3 other women. Sarah was just one in a pattern. The day she moved out for good, she cried. I didn't. Our divorce went through 6 weeks later. Clean. Simple. Just signatures and silence. Her sister reached out once, said Sarah was in therapy. That she asked about me. I told her not to pass messages. I needed to heal without the noise. It's been 5 months. Sometimes I still wake up thinking she's in the next room. Sometimes I still check the back door twice before bed. I kept the video files. Not to hurt her, but as a reminder of how blind I was, of what I survived. People at work don't ask questions, but they know. One guy, Tony from logistics, said to me the other day, "You look lighter, man. Like a weight's off." He's not wrong. Do I miss her? Sometimes. Do I hate her? No. But I'll never love her again. What did I learn? Trust is fragile. Love isn't always enough. And sometimes, the people you die for are the ones holding the knife. I'm not ready to date again. I'm not even ready to hope again. But I'm here. And I'm still standing. And for now, that's enough.